Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of SITWITH. I'm here with the usual suspects, Mr. Eno, the Bayangi man. Now, when you go receive chieftaincy title for your village,
I'm already a chief. I don't need to go and receive chieftaincy title. I be already chief now.
And then a big man.
I be chief and I be kingmaker in the waiting. So I'm not just an ordinary chief.
And then what?
The way we do am for not be na the same way we do am for Tico.
So you want tell me say if they watch this video where they claim say you already be a chief for Manfe, they know who you may pay fine.
Who go home in my pay fine? I go home myself for pay fine. I'm already a chief and a kingmaker in the waiting. Don't forget a kingmaker in waiting. So
And we are here with Mr. Ayo himself.
Yo,
proud Tico Pikin.
One and only, two no the number one Tico Pikin of life.
Okay. So you getting the idea to fall bush, right?
Yep.
What was your main country you wanted to fall bush to? Where did you want to go initially? When you were in Cameroon and you're, grooming the idea of falling bush.
Yeah.
So first of all, Mr. Eno, what can you say about bush falling? What's bush falling? In your own words.
Leaving your own country to go and look for better opportunities elsewhere. It doesn't matter where it is. It can be anywhere else. Europe, America, any other place. If you leave your own country to go to the shores of your country, you go to another country in search of better education, better healthcare, whatever it is that you're going to look for, better any opportunity you're going to look for, then that's regarded as falling bush to most of us Africans.
Mr. Ayo,
Yep.
Is it the same for you or?
Definitely, not much of a difference. Just going out for greener pastures. I believe majority of us so greener pastures. Yeah,
nice.
Going to a better location for greener pasture. Yeah.
So today both of you are in England.
Yep.
And coming from Cameroon, Cameroon is a bilingual country.
Yep.
So how did you come up with the idea of coming to England, which is just an English-speaking country? And I believe both of you are bilingual. So why didn't you go to a French country as opposed to you coming to an English country?
It's fate. It's destiny.
So if they put you in France right now, for example,
if you put me in France right now, it has been my fate to be in France right now. No, honestly, my dream country has always been United States of America. I've always loved for so many reasons, but they export career-wise, to me, that's always been career-wise. I love hip-hop, I love rap music, so I've always loved to live in America, to understand the culture, the lifestyle there. See people like the Lil Waynes, the Tupac, not Tupac, at least. People like the Rick Rocks, the Game, the Nas, all these old school DJs that made us to dream.
Because you're involved in the hip hop industry in Cameroon, and if you go to America, you pursue the same career.
Not really like pursue the same career. I might be a record label owner. Me being in America, understanding the business and being with these people, it can be a lot of openings for my artists. It's not necessarily me. I love their culture. I love their lifestyle. Then being closer to these artists, to me, is a bonus. Even if I'm not closer to them, like touching them, just seeing the way they do things on my fire. That is what happened to Cameroon music industry. It took somebody to get there, see how things are being done, come back home, took a Stanley Eno, and Stanley Eno brought a different genre of branding into the hip-hop culture in Cameroon. That's because he copied from the Western world. And the people that were there with him, the people that his team brought in the Western
so are you in any way calling Stanley a copycat?
There's nothing we do in this world that has not been done. Everybody is copying. Joe, are just modifying.
Interesting.
That's the simple truth. Everybody's just modifying their own way. So nobody's creating anything.
How did you choose from all the countries, the English-speaking and French-speaking countries?
Okay.
How did you come to the conclusion of coming to England?
First of all, I'm from an Anglo-Saxon background, which tells you that where I come from was colonized by England, and because we were colonized by England, it brought me to the English-speaking. It brought me to the English-speaking system of education, the English-speaking mentality, and everything of that sort. So I've always been attracted to the English-speaking aspect of life. So me coming over to England is just it's just a result of the accumulation of factors that has always structured my life in a particular way. My life has always been the Anglo-Saxon way from the beginning right up to where I am now. So it's a no-brainer. If it wasn't England, it would have been maybe Canada, maybe a US, but it would be an Anglo-Saxon kind of a place. Yeah.
So let's say now you're here and there's someone in Cameroon who's hoping or dreaming to come to England or one of these countries. So what would you say is the true cost of traveling? And what route would you advise someone to come to, let's say, for example, England?
Traveling abroad, not just England or the UK, traveling abroad has different types of costs, right? There's the financial cost, there is the opportunity cost, which is the alternative cost of doing everything. Of course, when you're doing something, there is always that thing that you lose or that thing that you forego in trying to achieve something else. Okay, like coming abroad, you forego opportunities that you can have back home.
Yep.
So if anybody thinks that the best thing for you to do is to leave your country and travel abroad, and then I'll advise them to chase your dream, because some people dream of traveling abroad, some people dream of traveling and just for the sake of traveling, and some people, they don't have the environment where they are at the moment. It's not conducive for them to explore and expand. So most people they want to leave for various reasons, and I can encourage everybody, if you want to leave for a particular reason, then you should leave, because it is better to get to a place, you see that, okay, place is not conducive for me, and you go back to where you're coming from, rather than staying in a place, being unhappy, and always questioning yourself, if I had gone, I would have been happier. It is rather better to go there, experience it, and you understand, okay, you know what, where I was better than this, and then I can go back. Then you have the inner peace and satisfaction. Yeah. So it's better. Anybody that wants to travel,
let's say you see yourself in Cameroon 10 years ago, and now from what you have seen right now, you want to advise yourself about traveling bush. What would you say to yourself?
Perfect your skills. Get some skills the advice I would give my younger self is would just be, make sure you are well versed you have a knowledge about what you're going to. Make sure you have skills that can help you survive out there, even without being employed. Like, be self-employed. There are so many challenges I've faced in the UK that I regret not doing so many things back home. So the best advice I would give to my younger self would just be, be serious with life. Make use of every opportunity, even back home, because I realized that there are so many things I neglected down there, that opportunities I made, that would have opportunities to get skills, opportunities for even jobs or some things like that. You see, to you, it's like minor things, like this type of job is minor. I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But by the time you get here, you realize that that experience is very important.
The experience is important, but there's a saying that you can't see the frame when you're in the picture. Right?
Definitely.
So when you get out of the picture, you can see the entire picture.
No, that's why I'm advising my younger self.
Yeah, but your younger self wouldn't see the frame when you're younger self.
No, you are not getting
now because
you are not getting the picture. This is not for me. This is not for me. This is
for the younger you.
The younger me. So this is what I would tell a younger me and somebody else beside me who is planning or aspiring to come. So it's not really necessary for me.
Because you're part of a movement and you influence a bunch of people.
Definitely, you understand.
Yes. So what you say here, they take it as gospel back there, Tico.
Yes, especially to the Birmingham Foundation. It's very, very important. Very, very important. Very important. but that's the truth, is it?
Yeah.
Because there are things that people don't know by the time they are making plans to travel out of the countries. And when they come, they realize like, okay, you know what? If I had stayed back and maybe embark on this journey, or take on this activity and that other activity, I would be successful. But the difference is where you are at the time, you do not see the prospects for that thing to be successful. And also at the time, you are unable to sustain your life while embarking on that journey to be successful. I'll give an example. For somebody who wants to open up a greenhouse farm, for example, right? You want to open up maybe a fishery, a fish farm, a fish farm which can take about 500,000 to $1 million, right? You don't have that kind of money because you're back home, you're living hand to mouth, you're surviving basically, and then you're struggling to get out of the country. Maybe somebody helps you, maybe your family members or some other people help you, and you get out of the country, and you realize that with this and this, with £500 or £1,000, I can invest in fish farming, and in 2 to 3 years, that £500 or £1,000 can turn to about 2 to 3 or £3,000, and then it can start sustaining a life. But mind you, back home, you have no other source of income. If somebody gives you that £1,000 cash, you will not be able to do anything with it because your livelihood, your daily survival will also come out of that £500 or £1,000. But when you're here, you can be able to finance such things because you already have a daily life, and then that £500 or £1,000 come extra from your addition. It can be a part of saving or something that you can use now to invest. So that's the only difference with people who come abroad, and then they see a bigger picture, and then they see something that they can nurture back home, right? And then there's always a difference with somebody who comes from abroad, who goes back home to do a business, or who goes back home to carry out an agricultural activity or something, because you are going to do it in large scale, while the people back home, they are doing it in a very small scale, in a subsistence way, and then they don't grow. And people who have high ambitions, who have big dreams, do not always want to undertake those kind of things. So people always try to get out of the country. And
so what would you say to people in Africa? Let's say, for example, Cameroon, because that's where we come from. You see someone who is working for the government, has a good job, what we would consider a good job coming from Cameroon. Let's say you're earning 300, 400,000 a month. You decide to give up that job and come to Europe. Or someone who has a bunch of lands that has been passed down from generation to generation, or even a family house. They decide to get rid of all those properties just to get the money to invest in coming to Europe. What would you say to someone like that?
You can advise people who are looking for you can advise someone who's looking for something, who's desperately looking for something. People leave their countries for various reasons. Maybe some people leave because of political oppression, some people leave because of freedom, some people leave because of economic reasons, some people leave for different reasons. So if some people can have the money, right? They can actually have the income that can afford a good life.
Definitely.
But then they are not happy, because it's not just about having money in some situations. It's the ability to sleep peacefully without knowing somebody is not coming to break your door, right? We live in these houses, especially in these Western countries, we don't have fences. We live in houses without fences. But you're almost certain that nobody's coming to break your door. You go to work at night, you know that nobody's coming to break your door. You know, nobody's coming to, harass you in your house. Nobody's coming to steal something from your house. But in some places where the security is very low, the public health is very low. You're in a place where you're in any minimum wage, you're paying your taxes. But if you're sick, you're 100% sure you're going to be taken care of. But you can be in some other places
but
where
you have derailed yourself from what I asked. I asked that the person in Cameroon,
who wants
for
to
example,
leave,
who is doing well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can be doing well, but then
you're not satisfied.
You're not satisfied because other factors in the environment. Because it's not just about you. You are a very insignificant part of an environment, right? Your impact can be significant, but you alone, compared to the environment, is insignificant. Because if you're sick and there's no hospital, no matter the amount of money you have in your account, it's not going to do anything for you. The security reasons, for example, no matter the amount of money you have, if thieves break into your house, well, you can call the police. Maybe by the time the police get there, you're dead. So you have an accident before they struggle and get you to the hospital because of the bad roads, because of lack of ambulances or medicals, you're dead. So there are other externalities that people look at and say, no, I cannot stay in this country. That's why most people even have the financial capabilities. They turn to send their children out of those places where they are, because they know that there is no system that caters for people, for human beings in those places. So they try to leave those places.
So what do you think about what Mr. Eno just said?
Well,
so if you're doing well,
if actually you're doing well in your country, you have a good paying job, you live large, you're okay. Contemplating between remaining back home or going to abroad has never been an option for an African man.
Okay.
No matter how comfortable you are, there is more out there for you to exploit. It's kind of unfortunate that we come from a continent where we cannot do without the Western world.
How would you say we cannot? Well, how can you say we cannot do without
the
Western world?
You just said it doesn't make any sense to have money, and when you are sick, you don't have hospital to go there.
No. But you say that doesn't mean we cannot do without the West. We can have those facilities.
No. We haven't got to that. We'll get there.
No, but you say we cannot do without the Western world. What do you mean we cannot do without the Western world? We can't do without the Western world.
I'm talking ground zero. I'm talking facts. I'm not talking probabilities.
What facts are you? What facts?
How many of our ministers back home get treated back home? How many of the rich back home get treated back home?
No, but there are
majority of them.
There are people.
There are people who always have to live.
No, there are people who live up to 100 years who live older than those our ministers.
No, I'm not. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not refusing that. As an African man, you can live even for 130 years without even going to the hospital. Our forefathers has been living like that. I am saying, no matter how comfortable you are in Africa, you will still get to a point where you want to see exploit things out there, even not by desire, but by nature. There are things that will carry you out of your country. How many Europeans can live here and go back to Africa to get treated if they are sick? How many people go to Africa to look for solutions for their problem? If you compare the rate of people that go back to Africa to look for solution and compare the rate of people that leave Africa to come to Europe, you will see that we cannot do without them. At least at the moment, we have to accept. It does not mean that there are no probabilities that we can have all these facilities back home in Africa. We can have them,
but most of those people come to Africa for business purposes.
Anyways, I think that's the different topic. We're not going out of topic. What I'm just trying to say is, no matter how comfortable you are back home, you will still want to go outside. I have seen people with millions. I've seen people earning millions. People living large. For example, look at most of our celebrities. If you go into their, let me just talk for the present Cameroon industry now. If there are 10 A-list artists in Cameroon, 8 of them are fianced or married to Cameroonians living abroad. I don't know Cameroonians in Cameroon, local girls in Cameroon, not local girls. I don't know girls in Cameroon. Why are they going only for those in the diaspora? Because of the advantages. They have the money. They can live large in Cameroon. So why are they not looking for girls there? They always want to go outside to exploit and get these other advantages too.
But they get married to other Cameroonians that are living in other places. For example, like Daphne, she got married to a guy, a Cameroonian who lives outside.
So there's no lover boy that can get married to Daphne. No, that's my point. There's no level above, but that's what I'm telling you. If there are 10
You know, when you
A-list
get to a
artists,
certain level in life, you would like to measure up to that same class.
that's a certain level of life where you have a certain amount of money. You want to be in a certain you want to live in a certain environment. You want to go to certain places. That money can go there. That's what makes you different from that person back home. That's the simple truth.
So are you advising most of these artists in Cameroon that once you hit boom, you just look for someone in the diaspora and move?
No, I will not tell you what to do, man. You have to use your head.
How is it beneficial, leaving our society and coming here? Are we coming here to develop here or take the skills here and go back like most of the Asians will do? They will come here and study and they take their skills and go back to Asia and develop the environment. So us coming here, migrating to this area, what does that say to the future of our own society that we left behind?
I think for my area, for my community, I want to just give a simple example now from my community. If you look at Tiko Town, 10 years ago, you see people that let me not even go for 5 years ago, you see people that 7 years ago, 5 years, 2 years. You see people that have traveled, have gone to Europe, they have made money, they live large. They were not investing that much back home like how they are doing now. You see modern hospitals are coming owned by diasporans. You see modern guest houses. You see infrastructures like it depends now on the individual that's in the diaspora, because it's not everybody in the diaspora who have plans of going back home or investing back home. I think the side that benefits back home has to do more with the people that see the importance of developing back home. That's why I said the other day on this podcast that we leave home to take care of home. You understand? So if there are people here, there are doctors here, I call this place this is perfection. This is a point of perfection. That's how I see diaspora. It's a point of perfection. There are things you can do in Africa, but you are limited in materials or limited in research. But by the time you get here, you can easily have access to those things and instead grow. I know people in this country that make their money from Africa. They work here, they get the salary they have here, they invest back home and gain more back home than even here. So it just depends on the individuals.
Complicated situation. It's something very, very complicated because you talked of Asians and the people in the Middle East, the Arabs as well. Now those people can afford to come here, study, get this knowledge, skill, and go back to their places because there is a foundation in those countries where they can actually or they can easily go back and explore those opportunities. They can go back and expand and establish, right? But unfortunately for us, most of us in sub-Saharan Africa, whatever skill you get here, you go back home, it is very difficult for you to apply those skills because, once you go back home, first of all, they know that you're from these places. They are angry with you. The system is angry at you. Yeah, that's. We were discussing about Cameroon music the last time, right? I said diaspora artists, once they realize that you're going, they realize that you're coming from abroad. You try to do the music, they get jealous, and there are so many. I know so many people who have tried to do businesses back home, and it fails just because they know he's from abroad and he can't do anything. There's this, you cannot do anything, and our systems are not doing anything. Our governments are not doing anything to how can I say, to milk the opportunity of diaspora. Now, diaspora brings a lot of foreign exchange to the country.
Definitely,
you understand. Most of these Asian countries, China has done it. China, every country you go, there are at least 2,000 Chinese people in the entire planet. Minimum, 2,000 is even too small. I'm just underestimating. Every country you go in the world, there are at least 2,000 Chinese people. But you know what? The government is accountable for all of those people. Because they have skills, they go to those places, they make money and take that money back to China. Chinese people don't go to countries to settle. They can spend 10 years in those countries, but they are always going back to China to visit their families, to explore and to expand. And that is why China is rapidly growing. They have passed the stage of development and they are now growing. And in Africa, we can see with a country like Nigeria. Nigerians come to a place, they always go back home to, invest and establish back home.
Yep.
And it also has to do with what we export out of our countries. Because traveling is just like computer, garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage in a computer, you get garbage as a result. And if you send garbage out of your country, you get garbage back into your country.
Yeah.
The more skilled the people are that leave your country, the more foreign exchange you get. Okay, 10,000 doctors leaving your country and working in America and abroad will bring in more money than 10,000 house helps.
Yeah.
You understand?
Facts.
Because those 10,000 house helps are working on minimum wage. Maximum $2,000 in a month. But those 10,000 doctors will be working on more than $2,000. They will get skills. Some of those doctors can come and open up hospitals. Some of those doctors can come and open up schools. 10,000 engineers leaving your country to go to other countries to work will bring in more money and help to develop your country more. And some of those people can even come back after a couple of years and establish back home. You understand?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
This is something that governments, like I keep talking about the Filipino government, the Indian government, those countries, they have strategized a plan that they use their citizens to bring in foreign exchange. Every country has Indian doctors. The Indian government signs contract with countries and they send doctors because the government cannot employ all their citizens. The private sector cannot even employ all them, especially in countries that are poor, that are struggling to develop. This is another means that country can use to develop and earn foreign exchange.
Definitely.
You understand? Because we are sending money back home for people's school fees. We are sending money back home for people's healthcare payments. We are sending money back home for feeding and stuff like that. So if the government of our sub-Saharan countries can actually look at people in the diaspora and say these people can play a vital role in our development, then the government can even assist people in traveling. Traveling is not bad if it is well coordinated and strategized. Uganda has a contract with the United Arab Emirates. They send taxi drivers,
even security guards,
and security guards to the United Arab Emirates. Well, the skill level is not very high, but at least it is structured. You're leaving Uganda, you're going there to work legally. Every document, everything is accounted for. You don't need to go and pass through all those traffickers and all those illegal activities. You don't go through all those channels. So it's easy. Those people can easily go there, work for their 2 years, 4 years, however long they want to work there, and they go back because they came through a government program. You understand? So traveling abroad is not really a problem, but if it is well structured, it will be a massive, massive opportunity for the country to be able to expand and for the people themselves as well.
So how do you think us that we are here in the diaspora, how can we help our communities back home? Send a helping hand to the government if need be.
No. I saw one video of Richard Bona. He was narrating a scenario where he did a song for a Chinese cartoon, and it became like a hit song in that in China. Like all the children were singing the song. Like Chinese government was very happy with that song. And they were like, Richard Bona, you have brought joy to our children everywhere they go. It is like this, baby, for them. So and they was like, what can we do for you? And Richard Bona told them, I come from a country. My country is Cameroon. And in Cameroon, we need good education. We need good infrastructures for education. So Richard Bona was like, you people, so the only thing you can do for me is build schools for my people. So the Chinese government told him that, okay, no problem. Get us in contact with the minister of or the Ministry of Education in your country, so we can sign this contract, and we will do it for free. Richard Bona, they got to the ministry, the government, and the minister was requesting that they should send the money to his bank account. That he will take charge of what. And Richard Bona said, you people are not serious. You will not change in this country. You see, it's not always about the government. I always tell people, how does your present position help the people around you? How can I use my stay in UK to help my community? What are you doing for your people? I believe it has to start from there, first of all. He has to start because
Before
the
it gets to
government,
the government.
before it gets to the government does not know the cry of my mother who is going to the bush and does not have a rain boot. The government does not care. So what can we do for our community?
So the change
it
should
has
start
to
from within, then go outside.
before going outside. There are so many people here who have NGOs back home. There are so many people here who have I know people who have invested in academics like football academies because, like they say, one of the most important part of traveling is that you get educated. The best form of education is by traveling. You see things, you learn things. It's not only about money. The
So
knowledge
you can travel
you
and
have.
become a medical doctor.
No, not it's different type of education.
Yeah,
People,
that's what he said.
that's
You travel, educate yourself.
No, I just wanted to clarify
you.
that. So I can travel and become a pilot.
You know, this economics, they get confused with literature terms. With parables, idioms, and so all these things. Anyways, so people travel, they see things, they learn different things, and they implement it back home.
Okay.
You understand? So I believe that's also one of the ways we can contribute.
Contribution. We can just contribute as small. I don't completely agree with your point because we can, as individuals, there's just as much that we can do without systematic implementation of changes by the government. It can be regional government, the entire state government, or whatever. I'll give an example. To get low-cost housing, it will be difficult for an individual to do that, or a group of individuals to do that. But if the government wants or decides to get low-cost housing for the people, it will be easy, right? Now they can take just the snap of a finger. They can get individuals who are in real estate and development and all that, and then
proper backing, everything.
They bring them together, and with the government's backing, it can go on. Individuals are not going to build roads. Individuals are not going to. There are 3 types of goods, right? There are public goods, there are merit goods. 2 very important. Public goods, that the government can supply for free. That has to be supplied for free because it's very, very vital for people's survival. Things like roads, tap water, drinking water, street lights. In countries like this, you have heating and stuff like that, right? And then we have the schools, the hospitals. Those are other things that are very, very important, not just for individuals, but for the environment as a whole.
Yeah.
So those things, the private sector cannot supply those things in its entirety because it is not very profitable. You understand? So you need the government or the system to step in and assist the private sector in doing those kind of things. I was talking about roads. You can't build roads to every neighborhood or every street. You look at these Western countries, every street has a road. We cannot have that. The private sector cannot do that because it's not very profitable. But it is very important for development, but not very profitable in itself, right? The road can shorten the distance or can reduce the time people will spend going to their farms and coming back, and also reduce the stress. So if you want to monetize it, you don't really get a monetary value of that road. But you can get the increase in people's life expectancy, the increase in agricultural production. So all of those things have indirect impact, not just a direct impact, right? Because if there's a road from Tico to Manfe, for example, everybody on that axis can easily travel. Now you can leave Manfe to Tico 3 times in a day. If you leave 6 o'clock in the morning with your own car, you can drive to Tico, drive back to Manfe, and drive to Tico again within the same day. But before, it will take you like 2 days just for one trip. You understand? So it makes transportation easier. Somebody can be living in Tico and has a business in Kumba. He lives full-time in Tico. He wakes up every morning, drives to Kumba and do his business. And at the close of work, he comes back to Tico. Isn't it? There are people who live in Tico and they work in Buea. There are people who live in Limbe and they work in Buea. So people can easily commute, right? People can have their farmlands in their villages. If there are roads to their villages, and if it can take you 30 minutes, every day you drive 30 minutes to your farm. You do whatever you're doing and you drive back. But without that road, people cannot do farming.
No, but that's not the
understand?
problem. I
So-
believe. Let me just cut you
Okay.
short. I want to just make a point.
Yeah.
You have to understand that for the private sector to work with government hand in hand to do all these things, the government has to be willing. I gave you a situation here of a Richard now who came with the private sector.
Yeah, I
and went to
understand.
the government.
understand.
So it's not
The
like
government-
we are just out.
No, but the thing is, we are already trying. No, we are already trying. I can never blame the private sector in the world because the private sector is already trying because people, when the government just need to set the pace and people will flood that road because people are passing through the Sahara Desert to come abroad.
Yeah,
the government is not telling people
they
to
die
pass through
every day.
the government is not telling people to go through the Sahara Desert. You understand? People are already desperately looking for opportunities everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So what the government just needs to do is to make it possible for them to succeed. Before, India was one of the most, I think one of the highest countries in terms of fraud in the world, right?
Yep.
Now it's Nigeria. In terms of internet fraudsters, India was the highest. They were very good. Originally, they were good with computer knowledge. Well, now you have some, but I'm talking in terms of generally well-known in the world. In terms of numbers, they were all going into internet fraud because they had nothing to do.
But let me ask you this. Yeah. In your opinion, do you think that our people back in Africa who have never been to the Western world, do they have a complete grasp of the concept of the Western world, how people struggle to make it?
Some of them do, but they don't care.
Or does social media really...
No, social media has come to show the realities, yes. Some people understand it because most people have family members abroad. But some of them don't actually care because they just want to live where they are. They don't see any opportunity where they are. All right. So it is the place of the government to create some opportunities where you now weigh either to select this opportunity or choose this opportunity. Okay, let me just go back to the case of the Indian government. Like I was saying, Indians were very known for internet fraud. But when the government realized that, okay, my people are very smart when it comes to internet and communication technology, so the Indian government invested in training people on IT. So Indians moved massively into the IT.
So they use scamming as a leeway into IT.
They didn't use scamming as a leeway. Scamming showed that they are already smart. Skillful. They are already smart when it comes to IT. So instead of being smart on the negative aspect, why don't I create something that can harness their skills positively? And that is why one of the biggest telecommunication companies now in the world, you have India. Airtels in the world, the Etisalat of the world, you have all those are Indian companies. Most big IT companies, they are from India. You understand? So we have all those scammers who are very good with the computer and do those things. So the government can invest in that sector, and that sector is going to boom.
Okay.
People are traveling, walking, and going to different places. Create marathon for them to be running about and winning races like Kenya. They are all winning all Olympics. Kenya and Ethiopia, all Olympic marathon races. They are winning every day and making it's a huge industry in those East African countries. So, the government has to play a role in people expanding.
Taking the risk traveling through the deserts, like we know most of our people are doing. People are dying in the deserts.
Yeah.
People are traveling through seas, even people who cannot swim. Even if you can swim in the middle of the ocean,
it's a different thing.
It's a whole different ball game. But now, you make it to the Western world. Is the reward worth the risk? In your opinion?
It is 100 times what the risk.
Okay.
Let me explain. For somebody who doesn't have anything to lose.
Your life. Isn't your life something?
That's why it is a risk.
Okay, that's true.
In the first place. You see somebody like, let me just give a practical example. Look at Francis Ngannou. Is the risk worth it?
That's a drop in the bucket.
No. There are so many.
Compare Francis Ngannou to the amount of people who have died.
More people succeed than die on those routes.
Yeah,
right.
That's
it doesn't just come out to the
internet. That's what people don't know. They always see the negative side.
If everybody was dying and one person succeeding, people would not continue.
Yeah,
more people succeed. than die. That's why it continues till today. Because if everybody was dying, it wouldn't continue.
Definitely.
But because there are more people succeeding, that is why it is still a huge thing.
Okay.
Living in Africa under a government like ours
It's a risk.
is the worst risk. First of all, you are first of all, my brother. If you have opportunity that you see that will just go you. Just go you.
but then it's to individuals, right? It's worth it. But I think to the general aspect, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
In our general societal aspect, it's not worth it because we talk of brain drain. The smartest and the best minds, the most ambitious minds are living. Because when we realize that your ambition is more than that of your government's ambition, people are always going to leave that place. A country like Dubai is looking at 2030, 2035.
Yep.
They are looking at different projects for 2035, artificial intelligence and investing in stuff like that. Dubai is holding a cryptocurrency conference in Dubai, the Dubai government. In Cameroon, cryptocurrency is considered as fraud and you are arrested for dealing with cryptocurrency.
Definitely.
So we have people who are still backward, you understand? And most of the time, people just have to leave, but the individuals leave, and people that are supposed to establish things that will grow the economy and grow the society, their ambitions are not being matched by the government's ambition. So most of the time, they are leaving. And you see countries that are developing now rapidly, most of our East African countries, is because their government are now becoming very ambitious.
Yeah.
And the citizens are struggling to match those ambitions. Look at even Nigeria. There are different states, though the whole country in itself is in shambles. But there are particular states that their state governments are trying to be ambitious. And so the individuals and the private sector can match the ambition of the state. So, it all depends on the government. The driving factor of development of every country, no matter what, is their government. Even all the Western countries that we are inside.
Okay, before we come to the end of this topic or the end of this session, let me just ask this. Now you're in the UK, you've been here, you worked here. Would you advise someone to come to the UK without docky just to come and figure it out?
Even if una get docky, una remain. UK don't flop, una no disturb it. No, come on. If you are hungry, go to Mbamene Foundation in Tiko. They feed people there.
Hello, this my man. Oh my God!
If you are hungry, just party go to Mbamene Foundation. They will sort you out.
Mbamene Foundation everywhere.
Yeah, they will sort you out.
See. You cannot. See, no, you cannot advise an ambitious person who has already made up their mind to leave. Is no matter what you see now, people will always have that desire to go. To me, if you know you are a soldier, if you know you are that pushful person, no matter the difficulties out there, you can. The good news about traveling is the more you stay and hold on, the better the future looks like.
Interesting.
That's just the truth. So if you know you're the person that you're not the mommy's son or mommy's daughter kind of person, just give it a try.
No, it's not just about mommy's son or mommy's daughter. If
there are people who have come here the same way all of us have come. I could not resist for 2 months. I went back home because of the pressure, the difficulties and stuff. That's a moment.
Well, it's just about expectations. It's just about expectations. Some people come and they don't get the expectations immediately. And then, they want
that's what I said. Soldier. It's a battlefield. You have to be a soldier to get there and resist to the end.
Everywhere is a battlefield. If you already, I'm not disputing your fact. I'm saying that anybody who wants to travel to anywhere, as long as you've made up your mind, you want to travel, you are planning to go, good luck. Okay. Good luck. God be with you.
All right. We've come to the end of this episode.
Thank you very much for being with us all this time. It's been a pleasure having you. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for growing this channel to this particular point, and we'll keep giving you goodies. Stay blessed, everybody. Peace.